How you guys doing? Uh, what I thought would be a sort of a fun thing to do right now is that after the Watches and Wonders show, if there's what your buying plans are for 2025 and whether or not um, any of the watches that you saw in Watches and Wonders were ones that you'd like to get. So anyway, if you'd like to talk about that, let's talk. Hey neighbor, how you doing? Uh, Nice warm, cloudy, not warm, well, sort of warmish, I guess. Cloudy day, sort of a cool, cloudy day here in New England. Hi, Abdul. I think my buying plans have already been laid out for me. Hey, Von Cruel. The I have well, once we get our watch back from the repair from Larique, that'll be one watch. The other one will be the one we're working on now, the Air Zulu, and then one other one that I have on order. You better be quiet about it. Hey, John, how you doing? Hoping to buy a Damasco. I've heard a lot about those. I've heard some very good things about them. I hope you do. Hi, Abdul. I hope those tariff threats are empty ones. No, they're not. Oh, that's the problem. I wish they were too, Abdul. It's just it's almost I don't know what to do. My opinion of I don't know there's not a single responsible economist, including a Wall Street Journal that is has all of these conservative unicorns that they like to chase. Nobody agrees that it's a good thing. Um, all I know is that we took a big hit on the stock market, and how that's going to affect it. I know that the watch sellers, if I were selling watches, I'd be very concerned about it because it's so stupid. Hey, John, I hope you can afford to buy watches going forward. Yeah, I hope so too. I think the companies, at least for those in the U.S., the rest of the world has got they got their own issues. But I think Americans, we were sort of shot in our collective foot by it's just a wrong-headed decision, and now we got to live with it. The idea that one of the things I realize is that the United States has one of the best-selling watches ever, and that's the Apple Watch. We sell those by the billions, and Apple is like filthy rich because of it. And so the idea that uh, it's not the tariffs that are going to move forward, it's the ideas and the quality of things. Jesus, you could do that without tariffs at all. New ideas. That's what we need. Good ideas. Now, but I like traditional watches. And in fact, a Waltham. I might get a Waltham. That's one they won't charge me on. Oh, hi, Horg. How you doing? Aldo, just come back from Watches and Wonders. Enjoy seeing so many new watches. Roger Dubuis by Retrograde, Hermes. Oh yeah, Du Temps Suspendu. That was really interesting. I got to admit that Hermes, um, they really made let's see, it's I'll say it wrong, but Hermes had this watch. In fact, it won the watch of the men's watch prize when it first came out. The um, the retrograde and the other gizmos they had on it were done by Aguinar. and it's suspendu, I think. Time suspendu, le temps suspendu, something like that with my bad French. Um, but that's a cool watch. Now, uh, finding the 2 models they came out with, the first one had that retrograde, and apparently they had some kind of problem with it. And so they came out with another one that was another suspendu that had these 2 little things like that. But then now the new one that came out was like the first one. So they must have whatever was going on with the retrograde, I guess they got it fixed. Who knows? But yeah, I was very surprised to see that in Watches and Wonders. I'm glad you brought it up. Thanks. Abdul, it will be just put forward onto yeah, I know. It's slowing down the economy. Yeah, I know. We're in for a stupid, unnecessary ride. We had just come out of the pandemic. They got the economy squared away, and now this. Well, it a lot of the Europeans who were paying the high VAT is that I guess the Americans are now going to get a taste of that. Not what I want. Long crew, one way to make sense of the tariffs is that they're a fascist play. I don't know. I don't think they were invented by there's a certain, if by that you mean sort of this I don't kind of nationalism that you have, everything has to be made at home and so forth. I don't know. I would rather have a Swiss watch, a really good one, or a really good American one, or a really good French one. It just so happens the French seem to have the Swiss seem to have the most of them. Now, right now in the US, there has been nothing at all that has kept anybody from making some really interesting watches. I think about the only guy doing it, who's a real watchmaker, in my opinion, is what's his name? Murphy. What's his name? What the name is? I forgot the name of the. His name is Murphy, though. His last name is Murphy. I forgot his first name. It's a little unusual first name, but he makes lots of good watches. He has one that's really cool called the Corps of Engineers, and he uses a lot of Roland Murphy. That's who it is. Thanks, Andrew. Yeah. Oh well. I was surprised to hear about Siegel, which came out with Rattrapant. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that was a good one. I mean, a good one to see. Before tariffs kicked in. That's only going to be for the U.S. The rest of you guys enjoy it. Maybe that'll be like maybe we're having what amounted to the Asian crisis, and now we have the American crisis, and so jamming up that the watches that were meant to go to the Americas will now go to the rest of the world, and maybe you'll get a price break. Hope so. Hi, Perry. How you doing? Von Cruel, U.S. economy actually weathered recent difficulties unusually well. It did. It did very well. It's the pandemic was worldwide. People acted like it was Biden's fault here, and some did anyway. But I don't know. I just go crazy. So let's not talk about the. Oh Jesus. Who's got a slimmer watch? Piaget, or Bulgari? God, I'm trying to think. Bulgari's real thin one, I think, was made by Concepto, believe it or not. At least that's what I was told when I was in Geneva. And I don't like real thin watches anyway, because you do have things that are more likely to jam up in a real thin watch. A relatively thin watch, I mean, not too thin, like this one is definitely not thin. This is my H. Moser um, double hairspring, Henry double hairspring, and it's not that fat. It's a pretty good size watch, and I really enjoy it. It keeps wonderful time, and it's got a good heft to it. It it's in white gold, and so it even have the. I've been losing weight, and so I'm going to have to take out another dot on that thing. RGM, that's who I was thinking of, John. Thanks. Yeah, I agree. I know what you mean, Von Cruel. A lot of that does. Hi, Smoko. How you doing? Roland Murphy. That's it exactly. Thanks. 9/11. Hi. Just joining. The new Chopard Quattro release made me look at the older Quattro models. They all retail at 35,000 US, around 12,000 USD pre-owned. Yeah, Chopard price doesn't hold too well, which is a good thing for collectors. Hey, Washington football fam. Thanks. Hi, Dino. Was at my Rolex AD today in New York. They said they fully expect a 30% increase in retail prices. Oh, that must make them feel good. Okay, God. You know, Rolex just a few years ago had some really good entry level prices. I think you could pick up a Air King for around 5,000 and maybe didn't they have some of the what was it? The perpetuals, the oyster perpetuals. You could get those for 4 something, I think. But now they're all crazy high and add 30% to it. It's not gonna bode well, I don't think. And these other countries, they're going to start jacking up tariffs on U.S. goods, and so there's no good that's going to come out of this thing except this crazy nothing. And I say, well, it's reciprocal. It's it's only reciprocal if you've got something. American companies would rather buy goods from Vietnam or Cambodia at much lower prices than they could do it here at home. They could start their own factories if they wanted. But they could, the thing is it's not Cambodia's, it's not Vietnam's fault. It's our own, it's in our own economies. God. It's crazy. Well, let's not talk about that. I said I blew my top this morning on that, so let's not have a repeat of that. Let's take a look at what we might want to get. Yeah, I know. I know, yeah. Thanks, Von Cruel. HRM, I think we might start seeing local assembly becoming a thing again, much like when brands were taxed for every jewel. Do we have, they still are taxed for every jewel, HRM. Filling those things out, you've got to put the number of jewels, which has to do with nothing because all the jewels are now man-made. But that's sort of an interesting thing. The way they have the tax thing set up with watches. Listen carefully. This could help you. All right. There are 3 things they ask for the price of the movement, the price of the case, and the price of the band. The one that is taxed lowest is the price of the movement. The case, for some reason, has a much higher tax rate, and the band is usually the lowest anyway. So that doesn't matter. But if you have a watch and you're having it shipped to the US, even if they put in that silly tariff on it, have the price of the movement as your highest one, and then case have it as your lowest one, and well, next to the band. Hi, Ed. Chopard might have the best release of W&W for me. The Chopard, Ed, has got that 8 hertz. Okay, I'll say that to me is a monstrosity, but the 8 hertz one is with the AC, $35,000. I don't know who's going to buy that thing, but as a sports watch, maybe it's a good one for him. But I was very surprised. I like the Chopard LUC on the pre-owned market. The one of the best bargains around. Yeah, Rolex too. By the way, too, the thing that Rolex had, I did a little thing on it recently, and I was trying to wonder what was the advantage, because they still had the lever between the little knocker that moves the balance wheel back and forth, or gets knocked by the balance wheel and knocks it. It's sort of a weird thing. But then there was this other guy who said that's not a true natural escapement, because on the true natural escapement, you don't have that lever. You've got these two escape wheels, bamming left and right on the on your oscillation of your balance. And he's right. He was very right about that. Nevertheless, I congratulate Rolex for doing something really interesting. One of the most interesting things is sort of the octopus shape of the two escape wheels, and how one moves the other. They have the ratchet wheel below it that goes into the fourth wheel and then turns it. Now, all they got to do is to figure out how to take the lever out and then move it up against the balance wheel. Against the balance wheel to have true natural escapement. Simon Brett also released a stunning piece at W&W. His movements look incredible. He does great stuff. He really does. Zenith's watch was amazing if you ignore the price. Yeah, I tell you, man. Oh God, the prices. I guess there's a certain level of income that a lot of this doesn't matter, and that level is way up here. But even that, man, I think is just getting hit crazy. Hi, Caesar. How you doing? How are things at Bali at 4 a.m.? Hi, Perry. Long Island Watches did a couple of videos on the subject, breakdown of costs and watch and parts being imported. Yeah, I heard about that. I'll have to take a look at it. Somebody said, I think they're mistaken. They said that the only thing that they're having a tariff on is things that are shipped wholesale. They're not doing it on retail ones. If that's true, that'd be great, because that means we could still buy a watch from overseas directly from, I don't know, somebody selling watches overseas and not get hit with that. I don't know. It's going to be really a fun ride. I'll put it that way. 8 hertz is fast to sell. Yeah, it is, but I mean, 8 hertz. You got a quartz watch is banging out 32,000 hertz, not oscillations, but hertz. 32,000 versus 8. 8 isn't even a small change in the. I don't know what they're trying to do. this I always go back to this. Your top tip-top watchmakers always have these lower hertzes. Take a look at them. They're all almost all are below 4 hertz. You know, the one guy that still has 4 hertz is Parmigiani, and those are the ones with 4 hertz. The uh, these are like 2.5 hertz. The ones that I have from H. Moser, they're now doing it 3 hertz, I think. Their 200 series automatic is 3 hertz, I think. Our ball watch is U.S. made. Ouch. They may be. Ball watches are part of, I think, the old Trainmaster line, if I'm not mistaken. And some of them had these old Hamilton movements in them. I know that Roland Murphy was doing some things with that, taking some of these movements and fixing them up and putting them in watches to have that I think is sort of a cool thing. Are they making, do we have anybody here in the US who actually makes watch parts? I don't know of any. I don't know. There might be some. I mean, and when I say watch parts, I mean not with any great numbers. There may be some craftsmen who are ecking out a couple here and there, but I don't know of any that are doing it on large scale. The new LUC watches look good. I didn't pay much attention to them. Does Rolex make that watch with a slope smooth bezel? I find a fluted bezel is too eye-catching for my taste. I like to see a fluted bezel with someone else's wrist. Okay. Abdul, maybe sending the watch as parts to be assembled in the U.S., but still parts and materials need to be sourced and taxed. I know. Okay. All right. Here's something going on here. I'm seeing there's James. Cheer up, Yanks. You watchers are worth 30% more. uh, Yanks. Yeah, there's some people from our southern states, James, they'll take that 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 title in the wrong way. Not me, but some. I feel terrible about the fiasco, and I'm visiting Cornwall and Devon for a month of May, where I'm sure I'll be hearing all about it. Yeah, by the way, too, it's just in case anybody was wondering, it's 911 Euro's fault that this whole problem came up. So if you're looking for a scapegoat, he's our guy. As he uses an anonymous name, that's why he can be it. Hey, Smoko, there was there were so many nice watch releases this week at WW. Lots of very nice dress watches and manual wine, beautifully finished. Those kind I like. Hi, Belena. How you doing? Who's really excited about paying 31% more for a new watch? Not me, or for a used watch. Hey, Von Cruel. Uh, 8 hertz is fast for a mechanical escapement anyway. Yeah, I know. The reason I say that is why? I know that, if you raise it, you have certain advantages, but one of the things that you have with I see the craftsmanship and the beauty of horology in the lower hertz. Now that may be just me and all of the guys who are in AHCI, but what do we know, right? I would love to see a low beat rate movement with a balance wheel that surrounds the breastplate of the whole movement. Isn't there one that's the whole base plate of the whole movement? Isn't there one by those two? Oh, God, I keep forgetting their name. The two Dutchmen who have. Oh, damn. I don't know why I can't remember their name, but they have that 1 hertz watch. That's pretty cool. Pretty close to that. Gronfeld. Thanks, Abdul. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah. Gronfeld has one like that. Raul Pages. Oh, his stuff is so great. I really like his stuff a lot, HRM. Hey, Andrew. FTS out of Arizona. I think they make a few movements, but I know nothing of their quality. FTS, I don't know who they are, but that sounds interesting. Hi, Planet Earth. Uh, which watch you keep an eye on this year? Would I keep an eye on? Jeez. You know what? Uh, something recently happened at LVMH. Forgot what it was. It wasn't good, and something bad happened. But I somehow think they may be La Fabrique du Temps that they have maybe coming out with something. That would be one. But the one I would really like to see and has the chops to do it is Chanel. Chanel owns, God, they own part of MB&H. They own a big hunk of FP Journe. They own a hunk of Roman Gauthiers. And then they own Bell and Ross all out. Will they do something with these really strong horologies from these other sources that they own and come out with something with Bell and Ross that'll really be amazing? But Bell and Ross is, it's taking on Solitas right now, I think. Bell and Ross I think they're the ones that have the watches look like airplane instrument panels, and that's 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 what I would have good memories about times when I used to fly. I feel kind of funny optimism lately. Maybe it's kidding myself, but I feel Von Krul, you're whistling past the graveyard. I I don't know. I'm glad to hear that optimism. I'm generally optimistic. Um, because whatever happens can't last too long. Yeah. Smoko, lower hertz means a big, beautiful balance wheel, well proportioned to the rest of the movement. Also, too, you can see it better. That's what I like about it. I made peace with 4 hertz, but draw the line there. Yeah, I didn't have any choice. I tell you, I think I just like the lower hertz. Another company, this is a company I wish they would do something that would be a little more affordable and because they have such good watches. And that's again, here you go. I can't remember their name. What's their name's watches? Oh, rats. The German watch company that geez, I tell you, I'm losing my mind. I'm starting losing my marbles. Hutter, Christine Hutter is the CEO of it. Moritz Grossmann. That's what I was trying to remember. Moritz Grossmann watches. That is a watch company that has fabulous watches, but their prices are so high. When I talked to Christine Hutter the last time, she said they sold out. So if you got high prices and you're selling out, why lower them? You know, so I don't know if we're gonna see that. I think they had some maybe they'll have a line of watches that are more affordable. Who knows? The flipper, the Adweller is adding 4 times MSRP and not 3 days after release. Whoa. Is trading for 4 times. Ladweller. I've heard of them, but I don't know much about them, Abdul. So many watches to talk about yet. Is frying pan time already? Oh, rats. Okay. Let me finish up these last ones. Hi, Jose. How you doing? I like Grand Seiko, but still no opinion about the spring drive. I feel 47 has overstepped so badly and so obviously. No, please don't do that to me, Ron Cruel. You know, you get me going. I hopefully cause it would been because it could be worse. I don't know. Oh, Moritz Grossman, thanks, Washington. Anyway, have you seen about a small French watchmaker called Koyan? I heard of it. I don't remember. Probably, yeah, something to look at too. There's a company called LIP, L-I-P. It's a French company in Besançon, France, which is not too far from Geneva. And they have a guy who they're trying to come back. I mean, they were sort of one of these watch companies that were really popular, and then they went down, and now they're trying to come back. They have this one watch. It's really amazing. It's got you have that, and then you have a stick coming up from the bottom like this, and then they have all these discs that you tell the time by lining up on that one stick. Instead of having moving hands, it's got this one stick or one hand, if you will, or aiguille, and all of the discs move to that. Sort of an interesting watch. Anyway, guys, gotta run. Take care, and you know, let's be like Von Cruel, who's optimistic right now. We'll see you guys. Thanks for dropping by.